You're listening to Hall and HUD. Two guys talking about things. This show contains strong language. Listener discretion is advised. Let's start the show. Yeah, so the following is an almost lost episode of the Hallspace Podcast, wherein Ritch Hall, Terry Huddleston, and Jim McClain talk about the first 3 episodes of Amazon Prime's television show, Invincible, as well as the Disney Plus show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We review our thoughts on it and how both of these shows represent some really good television content. You get to hear us gush over how much we love these shows, and also you hear Terry talk a lot about how he still is mad about the Snyderverse. But it's still a good time, so enjoy. Welcome to the Hallspace Podcast. It's about connections. I'm your host, Dr. Ritch Hall, and this is a weekly conversation about whatever and however I see to connect things. For people who want to connect, chat, and learn a thing or two about a thing or two. Without further ado, let's start the show. Welcome to the Hallspace Podcast. I'm your host, Ritch Hall, and I'm here again with my good friend, Terry Huddleston. Say hi to the people, Terry.
Hello.
And the one
make smiley face.
Oh, no. You stepped on my line. What happened?
No, I said make a smiley face. Hello.
And my good friend, Jim McClain, is back as well. Hey, everybody. And we're here to talk about some shows, some pretty good entertainment that's been dropping on the streaming services here lately, particularly Invincible on the Amazon Prime streaming service, the one you get for free if you want 2-day shipping, which I think it's a pretty good show to come with free 2-day shipping, I think.
Well, it's funny that you bracket it that way, but I guess in that context, sure. I like the show though. I was a big fan of the comic, and so I think when you're a fan of something, you have every reason not to like an adaptation.
Well, it's hard to trust adaptations, right? Because they are very often they let you down.
They sold this wrong, but I feel like it ended up helping it out because I didn't think they were actually going to do the stuff that I knew could happen because they sold it kind of like a wholesome Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Uncle Ben thing. And so the twist worked twice. Spoilers, by the way, anybody listening. But yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we're definitely going to get into spoilers about all the shows we're talking about today. So, don't get your hopes up that you're going to go into this, listen to this, and then go into it cold without knowing anything.
They pulled it off the exact same way they did in the comics. I mean, you read the first 7 issues, you're thinking, wow, this is like reading the 60s Spider-Man all over again. Only he's got Superman's powers.
Right.
And next thing you know, Omni-Man's going, blah. And you're going, yep, that's not all ages.
Yes. I thought, so that was one of the things that stood out to me in the very first episode. They bracketed it really well from a story standpoint, right? So the opening is this, Omni-Man is helping out the Guardians of the Globe, and they're doing old school superheroics. And there's an element of danger. Like, because I knew the comics going in, I'm like, is someone going to die here? Like, it's one of those shows that they do a really good job of putting everybody in peril because you don't really know these people's powers or their weaknesses. So there's that moment where Darkwing is under the tank or whatever. And I'm like, could he get killed? I don't know if he's like super strong or vulnerable. It seems like he's struggling. Like, they did a really good job of setting up the kind of old school superheroics so that when the episode ends, you're like, oh, they're a very capable team who works well together and who do their best to save people. And the dude who just helped them murdered every single one of them. It feels that much more powerful since you've watched them be capable and save people and avoid bloodshed
And there was a definite distinguished lack of blood in that first battle with the Mauler twins. And so you're just thinking, oh, this is a normal superhero show. It's, got typical superhero violence and stuff. And then they cut loose with the red stuff.
Right.
Well, yeah, and the brutality in general, like they let loose in that last fight. So it ended up working better than it had any right to do.
Yeah. See, I wondered that, though. There's a part of me that wondered, should we have held off on that reveal? Because in the comics, it takes a while before he kills.
7 issues.
It's not in the first issue.
But like nothing, like the plot beats that happened before that happened. They're just speeding things up. Like Kirkman is a meanderer.
Yes.
I love the guy, but
yes,
like he'll meander for like a bunch of issues before he gets to the point. So
we're talking about Robert Kirkman, the writer and creator of Invincible, who's also responsible for writing The Walking Dead, which is definitely a show that's known for its meandering.
What? And Marvel Zombies. I want to throw that credit out there.
Oh yeah, that's right. Marvel Zombies. I wasn't going to get
way better than it has any right to be too.
I disliked it.
I loved it.
It was good, fun. But I just didn't like the dystopian nature, which I understood, but I was frustrated with.
Well, what kind of zombie world do you want?
The one where the humans triumph, right? I hate the idea. It's the ever-approaching eventual death that is.
That's why I stopped
zombies.
Watching The Walking Dead after season 2. It's like, it's hopeless.
This is hopeless.
Yeah, that's different. So Marvel Zombies is...
I struggle with hopelessness, for sure.
Marvel Zombies is more like a George Romero kind of take on zombies.
Yeah. It was still relatively hopeless. Like you saw all these powerful people become zombies.
But it was up against other powerful people, though. It wasn't like regular squishy humans up against Marvel Zombies. But I get what you're saying. I mean, it felt contained in and of itself as well. Like, I'm not saying... Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying... So, it was actually a good series. Marvel Zombies was a good series. I was frustrated with the hopelessness of it because I struggle with stories where there is hopelessness. It's one of the reasons that Walking Dead as a show, I couldn't stay with it as many seasons.
I renamed that show. I came up with a better title.
Your better title?
White People Suffering, the show.
Oh, it is definitely that.
That's literally what it was like. Hey, watch White People Suffer. And it's like, I don't think it takes so much of this.
It gets dark.
Because there's like a weird, in the Apocalypse show, there's like a weird lack of intersectionality. And so it's just like everybody's just a dick. And that's about like it. And there's no like, we're locking all the black girls up as sex slaves. And all the black men are going to go back to picking cotton, which would literally happen in America, in Georgia. Like, there'd be a white supremacy group that would be like, oh, man, we've been prepping for this forever. But we kind of make it seem like, no, people just kind of become vague dictators.
Yeah. With no inherent hierarchy.
Yeah, like the black guy's his right-hand man, and, he's screwing all the girls. Like, no, Handmaid still had the same problem where I'm like, it wouldn't just be a male versus female slice. It'd be some more slices in there.
Right.
Even the Asian characters are getting treated different, which I'm glad that's kind of coming to light in today's discourse that like, it ain't just black
Asians have been treated poorly.
Yeah. Yep. So Invincible.
Back to Invincible. So Robert Kirkman, creator of Invincible, also created these other properties that have gone on and do well. So Amazon Prime threw money at him to create a cartoon that is fairly more than competent. It's pretty good.
Were you checking out the vocal credits?
Oh yeah, there's some amazing stars.
Every single person is somebody. Like that could have been cheap. Like Walter Goggins was the seismic guy. Seismic or whatever. Yeah. I'm like, what? And Zazie Beetz is the black chick. What was his name? I can't remember. But that kind of looks like Zazie Beetz once you know that. So I'm like, what? Like they got all this money to just hire everybody who's a A-list actor.
Some amazing actors are in the voice cast.
Zachary Quinto is the robot. Perfect job.
J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man.
Now that I knew. That one, you could. He's got a voice.
That's Sandra Oh from Grey's Anatomy and Killing
Speaking
Eve
of Walking
as
Dead,
Debbie
I didn't
Grayson.
realize Boy was Invincible.
Stephen Yen.
That dude is killing it in Hollywood right now.
Oh yeah, he is. He's having a good time. Yeah, he's having a definitely good time.
If he wins the Academy Award that he's nominated for, that's going to be interesting. It's like, my pay scale just went up for Invincible. Thanks.
Right. That might get him off the show if he takes off.
Let's hope not. But the thing is,
he's doing a great job playing young Mark Grayson.
that first episode, the pacing I thought was unusual because I went back and read all 144 issues of the comic this weekend.
Wow.
I was hardcore. I watched each episode 3 times on Friday.
Wow.
It's like, I love this. And the thing is, when we talked a couple of weeks ago about Superman and Lois, it's like, I'm not generally in favor of superheroes murdering people and stuff.
Yeah.
But Invincible was created independently. It's not the DC heroes I grew up with. Robert Kirkman can do whatever he wants.
Right.
He made these characters.
Right.
And I kind of suspend my rules for superheroes when it comes to Invincible. So
Yeah.
I read all the comics again, and as I did so, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if he'll get 20 episodes out of this, because his comics are like Terry said. He meanders. He's like, okay, we're going to be doing this for 2-3 issues. I'm like, that's 30 minutes of animation tops.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how he fits the show.
I haven't read all of them. I read through the first 5 issues this weekend. I wasn't as dedicated as Jim. And as I was
obsessed is the word you want.
Sure. I also noticed we got Solution Squad in the background today, but that's a whole other conversation.
I do. I did.
Very nice. I
did a nice little Zoom meeting with a class in Bayard, Nebraska.
Oh, nice.
On how to make comics to teach math. So I put the Solution Squad in the background.
Very cool. Very cool. I love the synergy. No, but as I think about the issues, I remember there's some pretty big arcs in there, though. Mm-hmm. So if you handle it well, like, some of those arcs can be different seasons, is the way I remember it. Like the whole, spoiler alert, him versus his dad thing. I feel like that's season 1, right?
I feel like they're doing like a BBC style, and I'm loving that.
Yeah.
Give 3 big chunks.
Like 8 episodes, I think, is the first season.
Yeah.
So I'm liking the chunky setup. And I think once the boys did well, they were like, oh yeah, we totally got this. And the boys in this universe kind of feel similar.
Oh yeah, no, they are setting themselves up as a niche that uses superheroes and then subverts the tropes.
Like if this
into
was the boys, the
badass
cartoon
sort of way.
And I don't know. See, the boys comic book and Invincible kind of came. I think the boys comic book came out way before Invincible, the book did.
No, they're not that far off from each other.
Invincible precedes it by 4 years.
4 years, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sure. I was talking out of my butt.
I looked it up. No, I looked it up because people weren't drawing that comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, this is just like the boys.
No, I definitely wouldn't say Invincible copied the boys because it didn't. It was a critique. Invincible's somewhere in between Watchmen and the boys. Actually, where it still shows a adoration for old school heroes, but then it deconstructs them in a way like Watchmen did without making them all like pedophiles and rapists or whatever. Like they're still damaged people. Even Invincible as a character, I like that he was kind of like you can still sense that pre-dark side even before he gets his powers. And then right as he gets him, he's telling his mom, like, I don't want to be like normal like you. That kind of hit me. I was like, man, fuck you, motherfucker. Like, she's a good ass parent. I would have been like, man, get the fuck out of my house with that.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean, Mom. Like, what do you mean? Because shit.
Yeah. When he has that moment where he's like, it's his fear, but it's coming out, and that teenage invincibility. I think, as a concept, as a person who's worked with teenagers for a very long time at this point, the idea of an invincible teenager who has these abilities, it's a master stroke of layered nuance about the modern teen, in that he is young, a little arrogant, but also insecure in all those ways that a teenager often is, and he's got these abilities and he calls himself invincible. Like I deal with teenagers every day who act as if they are invincible, and now you got a kid who just straight up calls himself that and gets to fly around and behave that way.
I mean, that's the male boy fantasy is so powerful. That's why the Incredible Hulk appealed to me as a kid. Because it was like the madder he gets, the stronger he gets. Like, hey, I can get behind that. Right.
And people are always bullying him, right? The people are always bullying the Hulk, and he has to fight back. Which
is something you really don't think about it. At least you didn't back then. But once you think about it in retrospect, like, especially the TV show. Like, he was always this kind of twerpy guy that was getting picked on. Then he had this fucking button he would hit, and he would fuck everybody up.
Right.
And I loved it. I love every minute of it. And I realized why it works. Like, you're like, man, how can you have a show where you already know what's going to happen? And it's because of the Western. The Western has the same, it's going to be me and Jim in a shootout.
Yeah.
And you know what's going to happen. Like, one of us is going to get it.
Right.
In the end. And we know since it's called the Jim McClane Show, we probably know Terry isn't going to make it to the next episode. Right? But yet we will watch the whole episode just to see that one moment where Jim finally like, all right, Terry, I told you to draw it out. I'm not doing it, Jim. Yeah. And then, so I realized
you both pull your pistols. They're two shots are fired. Both go down. But who made it? And in the end, when Jim is nursing his wounds with the farmer's wife, and they're carting Terry off.
Not the farmer's wife.
That was one of the things. Is like Superboy was one of my favorite comics and cartoons when I was a kid. It's like, really there shouldn't be a whole lot of suspense about Superboy.
Yeah.
Because let me see if he's going to survive this. Yep, there's my Superman comic right there.
Right.
Oh, Jim,
pretty sure he'll be okay.
You're not an anime fan, are you, Jim?
Not really.
All right, good. That's actually a good thing.
Speed Racer.
I got an anime for people that don't like anime. Only season 1. I think they got 2 seasons. Watch One Punch Man. One Punch Man is the best Superman never animated. Where he's ultra powerful. He's the most powerful guy in the universe. Nobody likes him in the universe. and literally is what I said before. I mean, it's all in the title. Like, he literally beats every big bad. And they figure out different ways to draw it out. But literally, you're waiting for one punch. And it's always amazing. Yeah. I mean, it's always satisfying. Once again, it's just like the Western or a samurai or whatever, where you're waiting for that one master stroke and it's just boom. And all of a sudden, you see the guy's brains come out of the back of his head. And he hits a guy so hard, the weather pattern changes on a vertex where he hit him. I was like, holy shit, that is amazing. Like, Zack Snyder, eat your heart out. Because to me, it's not about showing power on the screen. It's about showing the dynamics of power on the screen. And that's where Zack Snyder falls woefully short, because there's no dynamism to what he can do. And he did not establish power levels in Justice League. Yeah. So we just keep hearing we need Superman because he's strong. But it's like, how strong is Wonder Woman?
Right. Are we re-legislating Zack Snyder?
No,
here?
it's just because Invincible actually does a great job of showing you that Invincible is not as strong as Omni-Man.
Yes, they do. They do a great job of that.
They show you through show and tell. Like, he's like, dude, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna hit you, and we've all had that father moment. Anybody that's Gen X on up has had that moment where you tried to test the male authority figure in the house, and he warned you like, "Hey man, you ain't ready." You're like, "I'm ready," and you puff your little bird chest out that you had at the time.
That's one thing you've never seen in a superhero show. You've never seen somebody get the wind knocked out of them.
Right?
No, not by the by the Uncle Ben / Kent character, right?
I've never, just in general, I've never seen anybody get the wind knocked out of them.
Yeah.
And we all know what that feels like.
We all of us who had fights, my kids have never had a fight. It's actually hilarious.
If you fall down wrong, you can knock the wind out of yourself.
Yeah. But like all of us who've had that moment where someone got him in the gut one good time and you're on the ground just convulsing, just waiting for life to come back to you.
And that makes the character more relatable because it's like, oh man, it's like, he's tough and everything, but we know what that feels like, and that's
he can catch a wrong one. Yeah,
they even had some Greatest American Hero in there too with his landing.
Oh yeah, his landing,
absolutely,
which I appreciated.
Yeah,
and that never happened in the comic. Never. Happened
no, it wasn't a thing. But I guess it's a way because the comic had more time to show him kind of learning powers. As in the comics I read, he was awkward as a flyer for the first few, as I recall. But that's a way to sort of really convey it, to give that. As we've said before, when we talked about the Superman episode, I love a good flying scene. I've had, for the first 3 episodes, some really great flying scenes, some good sense of weight, good. They did a really good job of him next to his dad. His dad is flying gracefully. He's flying off balance, like he can't quite get. And I'm like, okay, they're really like paying attention to these dynamics. His flying was different when he was in space versus when he was on Earth. His father telling him, you don't have to push off anything, so you can pretty much punch from everywhere.
I've never seen that. I've never seen that.
Blew my mind. And I absolutely adored it. I was like, that's amazing.
Like, dude, how much better? I'm sorry, I'm doing it, dang it.
Okay, go ahead.
It wouldn't have been if they would have just had like a digitized Jor-El teaching fucking Superman how to do the shit. It's such a wasted potential that Man of Steel and Justice League. A fucking monologue speech. Oh, hey, be your best, do a thing, how do you fucking even know that he can do the stuff when you're from a planet where you can't do the stuff?
Right,
like it's stupid. It was just like one of those, like, you guys, I'm still triggered because you're definitely triggered. There's so little critical analysis of how terrible this Snyder Cut is.
Oh, you know what? I meant to send you. I actually came across the guy who broke down.
The Mauler dude.
I don't know if it was.
Is it like 2 hours long?
No.
I've seen it, but okay.
No, it was a written one, and I read it yesterday, and I meant to send it to you.
People are afraid of the Zack Snyder hive.
Half in the bag did it. Did you see half in the bags?
No, did they critique it because they're like, oh, we liked it. It's
no. Red Letter Media broke it like, okay, so it's still stupid, but
it's still stupid.
Some people they did some things better. I think that's everybody's concession that it is, but I don't actually think it is better than the Joss Whedon version, personally. Yeah, like, no.
Yeah, everybody in this panel was a creative. We know shit when we see it, and we know that Joss Whedon had to pretty much create his Frankenstein's monster out of this amalgamation of bullshit.
Yeah. And
so I feel like he's actually getting wrongfully accused. So imagine my surprise when I, once again, not wanting to watch Invincible because I'm like, this is going to be bad. I just got a feeling. And then being pleasantly surprised they're pulling off the exact tropes. From another planet, the Voltrumites and Kryptonians from Man of Steel, the same thing. I mean, they're Dragon Ball Z, even if you want to go anime.
Yeah,
It's like, wow, they actually made me feel something. When they have that big showdown when Omni-Man kills the Justice League, let's say, that was badass.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it's way more drawn out than the comic. The comic was like two panels as he kills each one of them, and that's it.
Right. Well, that's probably why they went loose. They let loose.
This was much more brutal.
This
was much more brutal.
Yeah, and I was actually reading an article about it that says like he used their powers against them. Like it was more thought out about how he would murder them.
Yeah, no.
And then the idea that he let himself get hit just so it looked like, he was
it was almost like if Superman, I just realized it was, Omni-Man is like if Superman had the tactician of Batman.
Right.
Exactly. And it was Superman who thinks through his fights? Is that what it was?
From the comics. It's Cat's Cat. Like Superman is not a dummy. I know y'all probably went all through this.
No, Superman used to be a thinker.
He used to be. He used to be a man of science.
I miss thinking Superman.
What was that title again? The Man of something. The Man of the Man of Tomorrow was what he used to be called.
Yes.
Because he's supposed to be smarter than us. Kind of like a Superman, not a super strong person.
Right. I was recently talking to someone who doesn't love Superman as much as I do, and he was like, well, he's too nice. And you can't do a lot with him because he has so many powers. And I'm like, that's what people used to think, but that's not my Superman. He is the smart guy from the future who, even though he's smart and powerful, the problems of the world are so much bigger than him. And so he's still as limited as we are in some ways because there's only so much he can do being the smartest, even toughest, most powerful person. But he is constantly trying to be better because you know how hard it is to not punch people in the face? When you want to just punch people in the face, like
they actually had that. I showed my son that animated series, the Ultimate, or no, not Ultimate, Unlimited. Excuse me. JLA. See where Darkseid comes.
Yeah.
For comparison, and Superman gives that speech.
Right.
That's still
that speech is amazing.
I've been treating people like cardboard all this time, but I can let loose with you. And it's a little evil Superman-y, but I loved it. Like it was
it's still the good Superman. He's like, you know what? I haven't got to do this. Let me see what happens.
I've never got to do this.
I haven't got to let loose.
Yeah. Anybody who thinks that Superman's just a dumb, jock type needs to just read Superman versus Muhammad Ali, and I will die on this hill.
Wow.
Because Superman versus Muhammad Ali is one of the greatest comic books ever made. And it just is. Because Superman has to outwit the aliens. They live under a red sun. He's got to figure out what to do. Mm-hmm. It's like he's got to figure out what to do without powers. And he actually learns from Muhammad Ali's boxing style how to deal strategically with these aliens. It's brilliant.
Nice.
Yeah.
So,
So
I miss thinking Superman.
DC has that in their back pocket, right? Classic black icon interacting with Superman, and they, like I said, nobody in their offices are going, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did a kind of quasi-historical take on this, since we've already got this story in the can?"
Yeah.
But they're so disconnected from. I think they're afraid of their own lore. Whereas Marvel is giving us a goddamn ant person, right? I'm gonna act like I'm a layman, don't know what comic book is. Like, it's a dude that can shrink into, and his name's Ant-Man, and we love it.
And he rides on ants. Yes, he's not even an ant himself.
It's stupid as hell.
It is very stupid.
And I can't wait for the third movie, right?
I'm curious about the quantum realm, Quantum Mania. The women in Invincible. Yes, very well written. You can tell they kind of retcon them. I felt like the black girl was a little bit too. She's definitely in the trope of what's what I'm looking for. Oh, there's a trope for those women who are they know more than the guy, and they always have the right thing to say, and they're a little bit ahead of the guy. Not a Mary Sue. Not a Mary Sue. No. That's not the trope. It's a romantic comedy trope, but I'm blanking on it. But I do know that it is. I know what you're talking about, though. I actually don't trust her. I think she's up to something personally. You think? Well, yeah, I just felt like she's too invasive. She knows martial arts, sort of ish. Yeah. You know, she's a little too I know you can say bad characterization. Yeah. But there already is a subplot of this, and then she kind of targeted him like, you know what? I'm gonna make sure I get in this. Are we talking about Amber Bennett? Is that her name? Yeah, the girlfriend. Yeah. Yeah, she's white in the comics, and she's only African American for the show. Yeah. And it's like, well, no, they turned the green dude into a black chick in this too. Oh, there's lots of changes. I love. Yes, there's a lot of changes. Yes, but yeah. In fact, we should. That's the whole thing. I mean, right. So since they have Sandra Oh playing the mom, Debbie Grayson, the mom, and she's Japanese, right? Yeah, Japanese. Yeah. And so I'm pretty sure they turned the mom Asian. It's like she's drawn fairly similar to the comic, but I think they turned her full Asian. Yeah. And with Stephen, how do you say his last name? Stephen Young. Win. Sorry. Yeah. Stephen Wynn. It is. You're right. And so he's playing Mark, and so he's got to be half Asian, half Ultramite then. Right. So right. And yeah, they Rex Explode's a man of color now. He's not white. Yeah, he's Middle Eastern. Yeah, that's old boy. I love him. Yes, he's hilarious. He's in a lot of things. He's actually got his hands into a lot of things too. Yes, like I think he was intimately tied into Arrested Development, and he writes for a lot of stuff. So he's got the county, but dude, that dude's a dick. I mean, the character. What I figured happened is Kirkman took a look at his book and he goes, "Man, that's a lot of white people." It's one of those things that you can get away with in comic books, but it always happens when you transfer it to a different medium. You cannot get away with that limited diversity. And they always, when you transfer it to TV or movies, they're like, you got to throw some people of color in this. And I think they do a good job of it, of making these characters a lot more diverse. I mean, to me, like, I look at diversity as people look at it like the morality of it, which is one thing, but realistically, like, you're an idiot capitalist. If you claim to be one. If you don't have do you not want Black Girl Dollar? Because they're gonna fucking dress up like that character because she looks like them. Right. Yeah, but it shouldn't be like, hey, fuck all that other shit you got. Like, do you want money? Like, well, it's just not right to turn. Like, okay, so you didn't care when they turned a Latino character, Bane, into a fucking white man, but when it's the other way around, all of a sudden it's a big deal. Like, shut up and let's make this money. Let's get it. Right. And that's when, so you brought up, Rich, that I have the Solution Squad books behind me. It's like, people said, oh, you're just trying to cater to minorities. I'm like, wait, what? Said, and then your daughter's Chinese. Behind you. Like, I love to orchestrate that way your daughter comes up behind your fucking thing. My daughter comes up and it's like, nope, she's one of the characters. Right. Dad, are they bothering you? I was like, no, I didn't really. It's like my students were diverse. It's like there weren't comics featuring teenagers that appealed to them. And then then Miles Morales comes along and it's like, oh yeah, he's What's funny is Miles Morales in the comic books is super mediocre. Yeah. Okay. But, originally, but it worked. But
and on top of that, they gave Tom Holland all of his stuff. Like the story is actually
setup.
Miles Morales, the Asian friend, all that. But I think
his side characters are all the Miles Morales side characters.
It forced Sony to make it even cooler. Like Miles Morales is even cooler now than he was in the comic books.
Oh, into the Spider-Verse?
Yes.
The Spider-Verse killed it. But it
amazing film. We should definitely take an hour to talk about that one day. But we got to loop back around to Invincible. And we were talking about the women in the show. Pretty great. Adam Eve, played by
the chick from
Community.
Community, yeah.
Yes.
I always call her Bridget.
Jillian Jacobs.
Yeah.
Yes. She's doing pretty good in that show. A lot of really great. All the actors are pulling off a really good, like, I didn't spend, when you watch a new medium or a new show, if it's not a good show, you might find yourself being pulled out by some of the voice acting or the actors. But for the most part, I forget that these are people.
Yeah.
I forget that they are the actors who are playing them. I'm like, oh, no. Okay, so this is her. Wait, that sounds like Jillian Jacobs now that I'm paying attention, but I'm in with her as a character so far.
I would make one exception to that, and that's J.K. Simmons, because his voice is just too distinctive.
Well, yes. And like John Hamm is playing a random dude that's on the street.
Well, he was one of the guards in the Secret Service guys.
Who I totally thought was going to die. They totally played up that trope of he's going on vacation. He's looking forward to talk to his son.
Yeah. And those characters are not in the comic at all.
Right. No. And then, like, you see the return later when him and his son are in London and that bag falls from the sky. Yeah. And I'm like, they just keep setting it up like this dude's going to die a horrible death because I know the Invincible comic. And so I'm like, oh, the bad guys show up. They're going to totally murder this guy. And then Guardians of the Globe get them all out of there safely. And I'm like, oh, okay. So what's going to happen when... Yeah. So they're probably going to, like, once again, pull him out. He's going to show up for 8 episodes.
And that's going to give us who's read the entire series something where we don't know what's going to happen, and that's good. That's always
right. Which they've done a really good job of. Like I said, I wasn't expecting the Guardians of the Globe thing to happen at the end of the first episode because it didn't happen for 7 issues of the comic. Right. So I was like, oh no, we're gonna just. That's every moment he has with Mark has this. The dad, he has this moment where you're like, if you know who he is from the comics, you're like, oh, that's a moment of darkness.
Yeah.
But he also has these very tender and just sort of good father moments that you're like, oh, this is going to make this so much worse when you find out he's an absolute murderer.
Well, it helps me out too with the long run, knowing what I know that they're gonna also they want you to hate him a little bit, but you can't all the way hate him because of reasons I'm not gonna get into because I don't want to spoil what's not in these 3 episodes. But it's like
I just realized they were setting up a really good, like, this turn is going to surprise. There are going to be some people whose minds are genuinely blown who didn't sit down and do the gym and read 144 issues. They're going to be like, oh, snap. And then the recognition that there are like 4 other turns. Like the dad doesn't stop just, he's, an a-hole by the end of season 1. He like goes through different iterations by the time it's over.
Well, I think they're putting a Breaking Bad where they want to get you hooked, nice and hooked in. And they can make Walter White as terrible as possible and then kind of, run it back a little bit.
Right. And I thought so when he goes through that time tunnel thing and goes over to that other that wasn't in the comic as I recall, right?
No, they kidnap him. They kidnap him in the comics, stick a thing on his head, and pull him into the portal.
Oh, okay. I thought they
combined 2 different invasions in the same scene.
Yeah. But I did think that was a good. You got to have that moment where he says, "You can't invade Earth; it's mine," and then he goes full rampant crazy. And then it goes into like disco.
See, there's a part of you that's like, oh yeah, Earth is his because he's protecting it.
Right? Yeah, that's not what he
did. So what's happening? Foreshadowing. Let's also talk about how they went off of Corey Walker's art instead of Ryan Otley, which I love.
Well, Corey Walker's a co-creator of Invincible.
I know.
And he was the lead character designer.
I actually like his art better for animation.
Well, and the thing is, when you read the first couple issues before Ryan Otley took over, it's like Corey Walker's artwork was really rough at that time. Mm-hmm. But later on, when he comes back in the 90s and in the 130s, his artwork is gorgeous. It's like, what was he doing? It's like, did he go to art school during that time? Because I'm guessing that he couldn't keep up with the pace of a comic because that's hard to do.
Right.
But
it's hard,
man,
hard work.
It's like you didn't see anything from him for a while, and then it's like I was following him on DeviantArt and stuff like that, where he doesn't even post anymore.
Yeah, well,
he came back.
He was kind of like a child of Walt Simonson, if you ask me.
His flying scenes are the only person I know in comics who draws flying characters better than that was Gil Kane when he was doing Green Lantern.
Yeah,
Corey Walker's flying poses are incredible.
They're nice and strong.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Definitely good.
But he also has a little bit of Alex Toth in there as well. I'm like my art style is a derivative of that, and
Alex Toth. You're very Alex Toth.
And other older ones. So I definitely gravitated to I actually like Ryan Otley a lot. He was like my favorite artist for the longest. But it's funny, ever since he went to Marvel, it's like it doesn't really hit me the same. I don't know. They're making him do something.
I really liked when he jumped over to Spider-Man. I go, if that's not a natural fit, I don't know what.
Oh, sure, for sure. Sure. I think I just grew out of him, to be honest with you, because I had the same thing with Jim Lee when I was younger. Then you get
we all had our Jim Lee phase, didn't we?
I mean, Jim Lee was.
I could you have been a comic person in the 90s and not.
I will pull out my X-Men trading cards and I will worship them forever. I love that. That set of trading cards is awesome.
So Falcon Winter Soldier.
We cannot switch over to the other show yet.
We cannot switch over to the other show.
We have 2 minutes before we have to go to commercial.
That's funny.
And then we can switch over to the other show. But let's wrap up some Invincible stuff, and then we can talk about the other show.
So the show came on, and I had to order a book because I had forgotten that I got rid of all my hard copies of Invincible. I gave them to my niece. And I was like, I have them all digital. I have every issue. Digital.
Yeah, so I need to re-up my. I think I have a bunch of them in the basement. I have to go through my collection and decide if I'm going to pull out the old ones or buy them digitally. They're on sale. Plug to Comixology right now. You can get them on sale 50% off on Comixology, the entire run. And
one of the things I realized I still wanted to have in my hand was the official handbook of the Invincible Universe.
I remember that.
Right?
I don't know if I bought it.
It was a 2-issue comic, but it's still in trade.
Yeah.
And this book cost me $2,000.
What?
That's why this book cost me $2,000, because it's just like the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, and people listening can't see it, but I'm holding up a picture. It's just like the official handbook of the Marvel Universe was back in the 80s, only with the Invincible characters. And as I was seeing the different interpretations of these characters by artists that didn't really work on them in the book, I went, man, I need to put that in my Solution Squad book. And next thing you know, guess what? I'm hiring Ryan Otley to draw my characters for pages like this in my book. And it's like,
nice.
And I got George Perez and Jamal Igle and I was paying through the nose. I just want you to draw this one character for me, and
and they'll do it because money. Yeah, but
it was
nice,
thousands of dollars.
Right. Because none of those names you said come cheap. Those are all high level commissions to get their input. So but I mean, if you could do it, shoot for the stars, my guy. That's the way you.
Well, I did it over a period of 7 years. So
nice.
Nice. But and I still love this whole concept. The whole concept.
Yeah, no, I love a good handbook. Who doesn't love a good handbook for a comic?
Yeah, I always keep sitting in line. I'll tell you that much for sure.
Right. And
I will say, for Invincible, probably had, as far as the comic book goes, the most consistent world building and look and style for any book that I can even think of. I can't even think of another book that comes close to looking like when you buy a 3 omnibus set, that shit's going to be cohesive. It's not going to be
from beginning to end.
It is extremely cohesive.
Yeah. Right. That was back in Image when Larson was drawing Savage Dragon, and I remember his art style changed dramatically over the run of Savage Dragon. But they kept the through line for the 144 issues.
Right up until the very end, when they just jump ahead, to see how the whole thing ends up. Yeah, I think they just kind of ran out of gas there at the end. Right. Well, there was 12 issues at the end. It's like the beginning of the end, and and it's like the last issue was double size, and all of a sudden we went from our time to 30, 40 years in the future. It's like, oh wait, what? Right.
Yeah. But it was a great series. I'm looking forward to the show.
It was consistent. It was very, very consistent.
Looking forward to new episodes. I guess we got 5 more coming now that we've had the first 3 on Amazon Prime. And I do recommend that everybody check it out because it is a little bit awesome.
Looks like they're going to Mars this week. So they're going to do the Martian and Secret storyline.
Nice. Cool. All right. So with that, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back with more Hall and Hud with my man Jim and Terry Huddleston and me, Ritch Hall. So let me tell you about Anchor Podcast. It's the podcasting service that I use. Anchor.fm is the easiest way to make a podcast, and there are many different reasons why, but foremost is it's free. So you don't need to go out and buy a whole bunch of equipment. If you have a phone or a computer and a microphone, you can record and edit your podcast right on your phone or computer. So that's one major benefit, as well as the fact that they'll distribute your podcast to several different podcasting sites for you. Not only can your podcast be found on Anchor, it can also be found on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast as well. So you don't have to worry about going to all those different sites and setting yourself up. They'll do it for you. You can also make some money on your podcast. Say you have a podcast that only 5 people listen to on a regular basis. They don't limit you on how many subscribers you have to have in order to be able to make a little bit of change for your podcast to keep yourself going. So pretty much everything you need to start a podcast can be found at Anchor.fm. So go download the app either in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, or go to Anchor.fm to get started. And I guarantee you, it'll make things so much easier for you, like it has for me.
Love, relationships, the church, the world as we see it today, and many more thought-provoking conversations. This season of Speak Kaya, She's Come Undone Talk Sessions, coming to your ears soon. Keep watching.
Welcome back to the Hallspace Podcast. It's your host, Ritch Hall, here with my good friends, Terry Huddleston. Say hi to the people.
Hello, hello, hello.
And Jim McClain.
Hey.
And we're talking about all the wonderful television that's come out on streaming services in the last week. We spent the last half hour talking about Invincible, and now we're talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I adore in ways I can't explain. Like, they are doing some just amazing stuff. Mm-hmm. And I've always been a fan of the Captain America franchise, and I was a little worried. I'll admit to a little bit of worry about how they were going to handle the franchise without its stalwart in Chris Evans, who was an amazing Captain America. And I will also, just one final aside, it blows my mind that I, as a comic nerd who knew about these things for as long as I have, there are children who are relatively normal people, not nerds like I was, who know Steve Rogers' name. And it's like, how's that even possible? But because comic books have become so mainstream, there are people who are like, how can you make a show without Steve Rogers? Which is weird.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like they're leaning into it. Kind of like they're pulling the same trick twice, but I think more successfully that they did with Star Wars, where they know you're going to be asking that question. Right. They knew you were going to be like, hey, this guy isn't Vader. He sucks. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And they leaned into it both times, but I feel like they overcorrected with Star Wars. But with this, like, the energy carries, right? And so you're like, I don't know if I like Kurt Russell's son as Captain America. Even though I actually like the actor. Right. But there's a part of me that's like, he ain't quite right. But that's exactly where they want you. And then you're proven right. Like, something's off about this guy.
Yeah. As it was in the comics.
Yeah.
As it was in the comics.
Luckily, I know enough, but I'm kind of fuzzy on the details because it was, the Captain America run was crap at that time that they were doing all that stuff. Like, it's not like the greatest. It's like what people make fun of comics. That's the era of comics.
Where they're making fun of.
You got Nomad and all that stuff.
He came into the West Coast Avengers during the era when the Vision turned all white and stuff. And so he came into, so I'm taking over the West Coast Avengers. Hawkeye's like, what now?
Yeah.
So, he was a little bit overbearing.
Yep.
He's very blustery, very big C conservative.
Yeah. I mean, here they're toning him down, but he's got enough of his daddy's eyes where you're like, I don't know if I trust what he's talking about. So it's funny that his dad plays Ego, and then he's playing another, nefarious double talking character, and he's got a little bit of that, like, come on, guys, come on, let's work together.
Right. He's he's got a faux sincerity that doesn't feel authentic, and it's very telling. In as the Falcon says, it's always that last line. So it's like it's very sorry, Jim. It's very quintessentially white in that he always says the right thing until he says the wrong thing.
Well, the thing is, I feel like there's a bit of a bias that we bring into it because I don't like they get you. They start in with him. They're like, we're in his POV. We're supposed to relate to him. He's just a soldier doing a thing, and there's a party that's still biased, right? You're still bigoted against him. Like, I don't know about that guy.
You're not the guy.
And they've given you no reason to not like this guy.
Other than what you're bringing to the show.
It's like your wife bringing home her new husband. You're like, I don't like the guy. I don't know why. Right. I'll keep digging. I know there's something there.
Right.
He's not Chris Evans. That's why.
He's no Chris Evans.
He's not me.
I've spent 3 movies with Chris Evans. Plus, you're no Chris Evans, sir.
As my 14-year-old daughter said when she saw the show, that is not America's ass.
Right. There you go.
Well, he's America's something.
Yeah. I think they want you to lean into that, but I'm liking the confusion that I got with him. Yeah. Because I don't know where to put him. I don't know if he's working with the bad guys, which I hope he isn't.
I kind of hope he isn't too.
That's possible. How did he throw the shield like that with no?
I'm frustrated by that. I'm frustrated by that because they made it a very distinct thing to say no powers, but he jumps off a helicopter.
That's because he's probably going to get some powers.
I'm not sure he doesn't already have them.
He had to throw that shield about 100 yards to bounce it off 3 things.
Right. And we know the vibranium shield does not, it does not follow physics at all, as Spider-Man.
Well, so there you go too. But still, it also gathers energy as it bings off of stuff.
But still, he had to hurl it a good distance. So I want to back up a little bit because I think one of the things they did that was masterful in storytelling was you don't even meet him until the end of the first episode. So you're going through the ropes with where are Sam and Bucky right now and their struggles. Bucky and his PTSD, his therapy appointment, Sam trying to, get a loan for a boat. He's an Avenger. He's saved the world multiple times over, but he still can't get a bank loan, which is a quintessentially Black situation. Like he's the warrior who comes home and isn't respected on his own soil, which, man, that is a good way.
Why does Marvel got to bring politics into this?
And is it politics? Because even if it wasn't just a Black person, this is a reality for many people who fight for our country, right? Like, man. That's a thing that happens to soldiers.
They were saying this about the Elijah Bradley thing. I'm like, that's actually from the comic books, right? Like,
no. Yeah, I want to spend some time in Elijah Bradley, so I'm going to hold that one. Yeah. But the idea that in the first episode, he's struggling he's struggling with the integration into a society that loves him as a celebrity, but doesn't know how to treat him as a person.
And what I wanted him to say at that point was, would you give Steve Rogers this loan?
Right.
Yeah. I wanted him to say it.
Right.
Yeah. Right. But they wanted you to think it, and so you did. Yeah, so it worked. But I'm loving the dynamic between him and, because usually they got, obviously you get the over the hill cop trope. We talked about that with the weapon. Yeah. But Falcon is more tactical than Bucky. So he's like, hey, dude, just chill, just lean back, just wait. We're gonna watch and see. And then he turns out to be right. Because usually they make the hothead wrong.
Right.
Or, excuse me.
They make the hothead right.
They make the hothead right. Sorry,
because he's a hothead. He's got a better handle the situation.
Sometimes you get to think of it as like, no, you totally fucked this up.
Right.
Like, you fucked this up bad.
Right.
Like,
right.
And so to see their first pairing is just a L.
Right.
And
they get outnumbered, outgunned really quickly. They underestimate their target.
I actually felt scared for them. Them kids wasn't playing.
No.
That baby-faced ass girl wasn't playing.
Right. She came to fight.
She looked like Bambi with superpowers.
Was she the same woman that was in Solo?
She was. She was in Solo.
I said the same thing to my wife. Like, I think she was the one, because she's got such a distinct freckle pattern.
Yeah.
Right. No, she was also in Solo as an insurrectionist.
Yeah, I actually.
And the beginner of the rebellion, one of the beginners of the rebellion that would go on to, become the big thing of the show, of the movie series. But anyway, so yes, you see them in their first pairing, and they're bickering. They have that really nice dialogue it's got to be one of the big three. Why did you give up the shield? And so once again, I thought it was masterful that we spent a half an hour with them. We don't even meet this new guy. Then this new guy shows up, kind of like, your new stepfather, and you're like, nope, I don't like him at all because I don't know him. I know these two. I know this situation, but I don't know him like that.
And when Bucky says, like, why did you give up the shield? That was a mistake. And the best meme I saw about that was Rey handing Luke Skywalker the lightsaber
right,
and tossing it over his shoulder.
Right.
It's like, so I saw a meme where it's like Steve Rogers hands Sam the shield. And Sam just
chucks it over his shoulder. Yep. But I thought it was like a good examination of, when you feel like you're being given an opportunity that's too big for you. And I felt like they've done a really good job of Sam is internally struggling with the responsibility of being Steve. Like from the beginning, he was always a person who looked up to Steve, that Steve treated like an equal. And even in the earlier movies, he's like, I just do what he does. He just can do it faster, right? Like I see myself as a person who just wants to I'm following Captain America into battle no matter what. And then Captain America comes to you and says, you know what? You should be the guy who succeeds me. And you're like, ugh, I don't know that I have that amount of weight. Plus, the government chose you 100 years ago. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of pressure.
I think U.S. Agent kind of shed a little bit of light on that too, on what would have happened when he's like, look, Red Wing's government property, man. Like, so that shield is still technically government property. Even though Stark made it, I think he still made it under the auspices of S.H.I.E.L.D. His dad did. And so it's not like that he could have kept it against their will. Also, too, that's just a veiled thing of like, hey, you're government property. Yes. If you basically keep that shield. And so I like that. It left me wondering if Cap took a kin to Sam because of what he knew about Isaiah Bradley. And it's kind of almost like I'm going to make up. But
reparations?
They're saying he didn't know. I mean, pretty much in a way. They're saying he didn't know, but it makes you wonder.
You have to wonder. Yeah,
it makes you wonder because we didn't know he knew about Bucky either.
Yeah,
doing it, which is literally the same thing. It's almost like Elijah Bradley is Bucky's Winter Soldier. Like, oh yeah, I also know about a secret thing that I didn't tell anybody because who the hell do you tell? And I just became a good guy yesterday. But dude, that was powerful, man. That there.
Now, once again, there are layers in that, right? So the fact that Sam, here's the thing that messes me up about Sam and new Captain America. If the government believed in Sam, they would have just made him Captain America. It says something that the government pulled this shady, go ahead, give us a shield back. We've already got a guy in the wings to become Captain America. Like, if the government had believed in Sam as an agent, they could have just endorsed him to be the new Captain America. They didn't believe in him. They did the underhanded thing of letting him hand back the shield and then immediately handed it off to another person.
It's literally politics. It's literally like we ain't ready for a black president yet.
Right.
Type of situation.
Right. And then Isaiah Bradley is the ghost of Christmas past to, if Falcon had taken this job, he might end up being rejected by the very country he fought for. Right? Like, because that's the nature of blacks in the military, going all the way back to the goddamn Civil War, that you're going to fight for this country. You're going to be a patriot for a country that might be like, yeah, but you don't have your full rights. We might actually invoke laws that take the rights to vote away from your district if you live in the state of Georgia right now, right? So it's like, you can be American until we say so. And if you're not the right American, we might just toss you away. That's the America. And I appreciate that Marvel has written in this more nuanced version of America. And I want to say one more thing about Sam before I step away from the mic a little bit. I love that every time someone brings up power or authority to Sam, he brings up the fact that there are still little guys who get stepped on. He's done that in both episodes so far. And every time he does it, I fall in love with the guy a little more. He has that conversation with Torres where he's like, yeah, you know, a lot of things are gone better. And he's like, yeah, but anytime somebody's a revolutionary, somebody else is getting hurt. And then the conversation with John Walker, he's like, it sounds like the people with resources would say it's easier now than the people who don't. Like, I love that he's still a champion for the little guy, which makes me think you're sounding more and more like Captain America every episode, my guy. Like, be that guy.
That's where they're going with it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and I love it.
And that's to the question of the shield, though, to the question of the shield itself, is it really government property? Because it's not the same shield that Captain America wielded in all the other movies. It is not. I have held the shield that Captain America wielded in Captain America: The First Avenger, and it doesn't have those little slots along the white concentric circle.
Right. It's a rebuilt shield after it was destroyed by Thanos.
Yeah. So where did this one come from? That's my
interesting.
question.
Yes.
Well, I did notice. No, he got it from the past, didn't he?
Right.
No.
Where? Yeah.
No. When he went back into the past, no. So someone help me out here, because I remember he picks up the Mjolnir, right?
Yeah.
And does he have his shield on his back when he goes back in time? Or does he get it rebuilt in the past? Because I don't remember that.
He brings it back from the past.
He brings it back when he travels back from the past.
So, like, here, I want you to have this.
Is it the shield from 1943 in whatever universe he went back to? Because whenever you go back, you're going to create an alternate timeline.
Right.
Is it government property? Because this shield is different. It is a different physical object.
It is a different shield now.
I mean, they're treating it as such.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying. I guess
one of the things I've always valued about Marvel is that Marvel, and once again, we don't have to do a comparison to DC here, but they're good with the iconography of the shield, the hammer, you know, the Iron Man ring, and so they've been very good at this is a symbol as much as it is also a tool.
My point is that they don't make mistakes like that. This is deliberate. You don't think they have 5 different shields that look exactly the same that Captain America was using in those first 20 movies? Yeah. They know it's different.
Right. And so that's going to probably mean something going forward. Yeah.
So you think it's going to basically be more than one shield at play? I mean, because right now they're treated like the Lord of the Rings. It's subtle, but it's there. Like, why did you give up the one ring to rule them all?
Right.
You know, what's hilarious is that people still got the nerve to praise the Snyder Cut. For its because you can't not.
I didn't even see this twist coming in this conversation.
They're doing the same tropes, right? I'm Bucky, a superpowered person that did some bad things in the previous movie. I want to redeem myself, and this is how I'm going to go about doing it. I got some issues I'm dealing with, and we're all on board with this guy, right? But if you chalk out how much screen time Bucky has had, it's not that much, right? Yeah. But it just feels like it has been. Whereas Superman has had 3 movies and you still don't know what his favorite pastime is. I'll wait.
Yeah. Well, that's some of the limitations of Snyder, who makes them into gods and not people.
I think Bucky had one of the best lines in the entire thing when he got mad and he said, Steve said this about you. Yeah. But if he's wrong about you,
he came back.
Then
what does he feel about me?
Right. That's powerful.
Right. No, that was great. Because it does speak to the fact that he does have this insecurity about, even though he's been through everything he's been to Wakanda, he has some insecurity about, is he still a good person?
Right. And I mean, I think I'm glad that they actually gave us that scene. That could seem like a throwaway scene, just so you still question that. Like, oh no, he's a good guy. Oh shit, and then, I mean, it was timing. We talked about this last time that he, or no, maybe it was another group where, him like point blank killing the Asian character. Right as it's all happening, I mean, obviously that's accidental. They filmed this a long time ago, but it hit me different. Like, oh God, that's like extra bad to show right now. Because that dude didn't do nothing. He wasn't a bad guy. He was literally
wrong place, the wrong time.
Wrong place, wrong time, and it's like, ouch.
Right. Poorly timed, but also reticent. A
little too reticent. But
But another thing that I wanted to say about Sam that I absolutely adore, Sam is a little bit more fully formed than Bucky. He's like, I think I did what was right. And so the idea that he keeps being questioned, he's like, I'm not going to waver on this. I did what was right. That's another Steve quality. Like, you can ask me whether or not it was the right thing to do, but I think it was the right thing to do, so I did it.
Now, so Steve and Sam share a quality of solidarity of purpose. That's true. But they're also very self-righteous.
Yes.
Like what I loved is I'm all Cap. I'm Team Cap throughout the initial saga. Like, yeah, fuck you, Tony. And then you realize that Cap lied. He told the biggest lie. Like, of all the times you didn't lie, this was the one time where I'm like, ooh, brother, I can't. like if I was in your face, like, Rich, you ain't nothing. You ain't nothing, man. And you call yourself a hero. You only solve your own psychological problems. And then I also knew that my brother, like, killed your mother. Like,
well, he didn't know that. He didn't know that at the time.
Know.
He found that out later. He found that out when he met Zemo, or not Zemo. He met him in the bunker. Zola, yeah. Right.
That's
when he found out. That's second movie. So he didn't know that.
He knew Hydra had done it, but he didn't know that Bucky
had done it. Yeah, he figured that out. I guess throughout time, but. He knew more than he said.
He figured that out during Winter Soldier, I'm sure.
Right.
Oh, I love that twist. I love that twist, man. And what's funny to me, people talk about how hard Superman is to write. I feel like Cap's harder. Like, he's literally a Boy Scout running around in a flag with a shit. All the stuff they say about Superman.
Right. All the stuff that should be hokey. I remember thinking they're not going to pull off a Captain America because it's just too hokey an idea. And then they do it masterfully for 3 different movies. And now I love the guy and miss him terribly. And I also
took my Superman archetype love. Like,
we've talked about that.
I need the impossible archetype. Like, he's too good to be true.
Yeah.
But it makes me want to be a better person than what I am, and not like, oh, he's just like me. He's doing crack cocaine just like me.
Right. He's got an anger problem just like I do. No,
just
it's
like I do.
And you have to tip your cap to Chris Evans, a guy who's playing the Human Torch in those Fantastic Four movies.
Would have never thought. I was
like, who? No way.
His Human Torch was the best characters in those movies, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, Chris Evans elevates what he
talk about night and day.
Yes, very much. Very much.
So he's got a charisma. They all got charisma, though. Even the actor. What's funny, the actor that plays Bucky has to tone his shit down. That dude is charismatic as hell.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You see him in interviews, man. Yeah, Sebastian Stan. That dude is a lover boy.
Our next Luke Skywalker.
Yes, well, that's what you want. So let's talk about. They go to meet Eli Bradley, right? Elijah. Sorry. Elijah Bradley.
I guess it could be short to Eli. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's bringing in the truth story, which is one of those Marvel stories that's genuinely been buried for like a couple decades at this point, right? Like, it was out of print at a certain point and only recently became back available digitally. I have all the old issues. Once again, it's another one of those. I need to go to the basement and pull those out. But that's the story of the pre-Captain America experiments that led to the development of Captain America's super soldier serum, where 300 black men were given the super soldier serum. They all eventually perish, and he's the last remaining. He goes on a mission, steals Captain America's uniform, basically defeats the Germans. But when he returns, he is stripped of the uniform and jailed for 30 years. Eventually loses his mind in the comics and essentially disappears. They bring him back for Young Avengers to be.
No, they bring his grandson back.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
They are really setting up the Young Avengers.
They really are. Which
WandaVision brought us two of them right there.
Mm-hmm. The new Hawkeye show is going to be bringing us the young Hawkeye. And Ant-Man's daughter being aged up 5 years brings us Stature. So Patriot being Eli Bradley, which is his grandson, and all it takes is one blood transfusion, and we've got Patriot. So I was really excited to see him in this show. I hope they circle back around to him at some point. Also, once again, Sam has to look at this man in the eye, knowing that the government let him down in the same ways that Sam has been let down, right? They haven't mentioned it on the show. Well, they did. They mentioned it in this episode. He went on the run for like 2 years with Cap, like because of not signing the Accords and getting into fights with Tony Stark. And he's got to look this other black man in the face and be like, I'm sorry, man. Like, you got a raw deal. And the difference between John Walker having all these resources and everybody loves him wherever he goes, and Eli Bradley's this obscure person who lives in this dilapidated brownstone in Baltimore where the police roll up and down your street every 2 hours. Like that's
you got to talk about that scene too.
That's two Americas. Yes, I'm getting to that scene in just a second, but that's definitely two Americas. The America where if you're this white guy patriot, they love you and they're going to hand you all the keys to the kingdom, do whatever you want. And then the other one where you weren't the right guy with the right face, with the right skin, and you just get tossed out like trash.
That doesn't happen. I think that rings false.
Right?
Yeah, that never happens.
Right?
I can't think of one example where that's happened.
He was the guy who ripped off the Winter Soldier's arm.
I know.
Like, we're going to go to jail for that. Right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He could have been the best buddy
they
ever had.
Yeah, me and my son want to see a prequel universe.
Oh my God. I definitely want to see that. Like, where's that flashback?
Like, you got young T'Chaka and
young Elijah Bradley.
You'd have Black Goliath would be in there because they showed him in Ant-Man 2.
Yep.
And actually, Hank Pym would be in there too. So
right.
Oh, we haven't even talked about Battlestar, dude. I geeked out hard.
My God, super excited.
I was like, what?
The very name made him stop the car and get out,
which I totally appreciated. Because what? For the geeks
Battlestar, I'm done.
I was super excited. I was like, wait, Battlestar, are they really doing that? And then I could understand Bucky's like, nope, stop this car. I'm getting off. I'm out. I walk from here. Because also it speaks to the gamification of it. Like these two guys who have not earned their stripes. Like we were literally fighting aliens 2 months ago, my guy. And
well,
now
they
you just
have though. That's what I'm saying. You just showed your bias. Like they've alluded, they do a lot of ops. They do a lot of black ops stuff. They do a lot of stuff.
We just fought an alien invasion, my guy. Don't show up and tell me you're Battlestar.
I'm just saying, as the lawyer for the...
What's next, Star Destroyer?
Right.
That's actually not a bad name if it wasn't used for Star Wars.
What's your new name, Sam? Millennium Falcon? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Also, good scene. What you calling me, Black Falcon? What do I call you, Black Kid? Great scene. Speaks to the much larger issues of Black characters being called Black when they were created in the 70s. That now is very out of vogue. And the scene on the street where
I hid my black light. Oh, there it is up there.
There you go.
Number one.
The scene where they're talking, they're having the argument in the street, and the cops roll up. Yeah. And that was triggering, right? These two guys who've saved the world at least 3 times together, and the cops show up, and they harass Falcon.
Yeah.
And then when they realize he's Falcon, they're like, "Oh, our bad."
Was a hand on the gun?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I was triggered when the second cop car pulls up. Every Black person who's ever had an interaction with the police knows that feeling when the second cop car shows up.
The second car pulls up, man. You know you're gonna be there for a minute.
Right. Like this is gonna turn into a thing now.
All it's gonna do is escalate.
Right. Yeah. There's nothing that they're gonna find a reason to be here.
I still think it rings false. Never happens.
Never happens? You don't think it ever happens to people? It's happened to me.
It's happened to me like 5 times.
Right.
Luckily, I'm dressed like a clown Comic-Con guy, and so they're like, oh, he doesn't look like...
Hey, I wear sport coats on planes so I don't get harassed. That's how I know to walk around in this world, you have to have some kind of marker or identifier. I was reading an article where somebody said, basically, most people in military service know to accidentally hand their military ID over with their driver license because that's how I've watched you do it. We did it once we were driving somewhere. She's like, and you said to me, I usually hand my military ID because I get treated different. I'm like, no, dude, do what you got to do to get out of this because it's crazy. So it's like that was definitely Black person in the writer's room moment because Bucky's like, just go ahead and give me your ID. And he's like, nah, man, I'm allowed to be a human being talking on the street, even if it's with a loud voice. Like Sam's man enough to know he's allowed to be here, even though he could comply a little more, maybe, I guess. But also, why should he have to? It's still America, right?
Yep.
And then Bucky, the white guy, is the one with the warrant on him. That's...
Well, they did white guy savior for like a second, right? Where it's like, do you know who he is? And you're like, oh, yeah, typical white guy coming to arrest. But then the reverse... They set up the reverse, like, oh, okay, I see what you did there, Marvel.
Right. And I was genuinely thrilled by that moment. I actually squeed and then went and told my wife, like, they're like doing some like really subtle race stuff that you don't normally see on TV. And I did not expect at all to see it in a Marvel movie.
Bucky is a reformed T-800, man. Like, that dude is really the more dangerous of the two.
Right.
But, I mean, his warrant was a bullshit warrant still.
Oh, no. It was genuinely Walker executing his white privilege, used the warrant to find where they were. So, I mean, he says that. She says, I didn't, the therapist walks up and says, I didn't authorize this. who did this, Walker points at himself like, I'm the man, I could do what I want, which is like totally, you use the levers of power.
I just realized who he reminds me of. He reminds me of Syndrome from The Incredibles.
Yeah.
He's got that like,
he's got a little bit of swag.
Like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the Syndrome swag, and the red hair.
Yeah, and he tries to, lure you in with kindness. I just watched Judas and the Black Messiah.
Amazing film.
And it did something. I actually don't like watching movies like that personally, just because I'm sick of black suffering movies.
Understood.
It's like, dude, we can focus on something else. Yeah. Yes, it definitely happened, but please quit equating blackness and suffering. It's literally the same. It'd be like every time you showed a Jew in a movie, it's Auschwitz. Right? No, they have comedies, fucking romance, every kind of genre you can think of. But with black, it's like, nope, it's history and you're suffering.
Yeah, black pain, gotta be. So slavery,
what I liked about the movie is they didn't show cartoon character white people. And the same thing I liked with Winter Soldier is Jesse Plemons, who's in the Black Messiah, and we call him Fat Damon. He looks like a fat Matt Damon. If you don't know who that is, if you've seen that, Jim, that Black Mirror episode with the Star Trek, that's Jesse Plemons. But he plays this calm, cool, collected, white guy that's totally fucking this guy over. And that's been my experience. It's never people that are using N-words and expletives. It's always the ones that are like, I'm your friend. You can come over to my house and hang out. And so, of course you didn't get that job. It wouldn't be ethical for me to give you the job.
Right. I can't give you that loan.
Like, I can't do that. And so, and that's really true to me. So, John Walker being nicer. Right?
Nicer.
Like that's the approach. Like, nobody's gonna come at you.
He's got a black wife, black best friend, but also he's a dick who will play with a police car to get your attention. Like, to me, once again, peak white privilege, because a black person would not do that unless you felt like you were ensconced in power and authority. And you could just, hey guys, I need to talk to you. I'm not even gonna acknowledge you. I'm gonna flip these sirens real quick.
I think like an RPG game, the deeper you are in white privilege, the higher level you have.
Right.
I don't personally think that there's an active, like, I'm being an evil white person right now, right? Like, I mean, I'm just being a person that wants to get what I want, when I want it, how I want it, and it just so happens.
It just so happens
that all these brownies are in my way.
Yeah.
Because they always qualify like, well, it can be white. I don't care. I hate everybody equally. Like, but it seems like an unequal amount goes towards brown people.
Right.
I've heard a lot of racist people say that. Like, well, they're like, I hate everybody equal. Like, but I never see you arguing against a white issue. Like, it's always like, for example, the Little Nas X thing. Let's bring that up, right?
Yeah. Like, I want to do that today.
You can close your eyes and know who's going to jump where based on their political and racial affiliation, right? Like, if you're white and conservative, you're going to be like, he's completely wrong. All of a sudden, this love of being not PC and all that goes out the window. And now we got to adhere to the PC rules and Satan's bad and quit saying stuff and doing stuff we don't like to see or hear.
Right.
Don't you guys hate the libs for
being so PC?
The PC police? Like, I thought you guys were the speak your mind, freedom, rootin'.
We're never snowflakes. Yeah.
I wonder what's different about Little Nas X and the other cases. I can't
put my finger on it.
Interesting.
It's because he's gay.
Right.
Is that it?
Right. I don't know, because David Bowie's still a thing, right?
Oh, no. Plus, there's that one guy that was like the gay alt-right guy that they tolerated all of his crazy stuff.
Right.
Including the pedophilia stuff. But it's something different about Nas. I don't know. When it comes to me, I will bring it up. It's
almost as if we've forgotten Elton John existed, right?
Yeah. I guess. It's almost like we've forgotten fucking Ozzy Osbourne existed.
right.
And so these fucking stupid ass devil shoes really got these many white folks in a tizzy when a man bit a head off a bat on stage.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And his wife and kids are on TV right now as America's Modern Family. Right. This is what we talking about, Jim. I'm not calling you out, but if you ever wanted to see what we mean, like, what do you mean, white person? That's it. That's it.
I get it.
Damn. Two different reactions.
Right.
Look, I know one happened a long time ago, and since then, no white person has done anything satanic ever.
No. There's not a whole show called Lucifer on TV right now.
There's not a whole fucking show called Lucifer.
Right. And on Netflix.
TV. Got canceled and saved. And picked up by Netflix. So white people threw money at it to bring it back.
Right.
We had to see how it ended.
Right. It was supposed to also end again. And they were like, let's do another season because the white people love this so much.
Let's do another season of Lucy.
Right.
No, come on, give me a break. They don't care about Satan.
But they do so much. But to circle back to John Walker.
Yeah.
Peak white privilege. And then the turn, the stay out of my way, which, that's the guy you really are. Thank you for peeling back the layers to be your real self.
And they set you up with that. Like, it's always the last line. Like, right? They set it up in your head to where you're like, remember, the last thing he says is the shit.
Yeah.
It. Right.
And the last thing is stay out of my way.
Look, let's be honest, man. Let's face facts, man.
Mm-hmm.
This show got no goddamn right being this goddamn good. Right.
It doesn't have this right being this deep at all.
Exactly. Deep is the operative word. Because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I didn't love it. Like, it was kind of mediocre to me.
Yeah.
And so I was expecting more, like, great action with mediocre.
I was expecting flat. I was expecting definitely, like, stale soda.
This is HBO level TV with a guy with fucking bird wings and a guy with a metal arm. Right.
And let's consider like when this happened back, like, let's say in the 70s. The 70s got Logan's Run, comes out in 1976, big hit, Michael York and Jenny Agutter and all that. So they make a TV show out of it, right? They don't make another movie. They go right to a TV show in 1977.
Yeah.
Gregory Harrison, Heather Menzies. At that time, who are these people?
Right.
And
you don't get the original movie actors because they're movie actors. They're not doing TV.
No, and you get these unknown TV actors going across the country in a Arc 2 leftover car. Yeah. And it's like, what is that? And then Star Wars comes along. We don't get a TV series right away. We get Battlestar Galactica instead. Canceled after one season.
Yeah. And it's like, it was not great.
But it's better than you remember, man.
Oh, I love it. Don't get me wrong.
But it's not Star Wars.
But like Logan's Run, it got canceled after one season.
Yeah.
But then you pull these guys out. It's like, we just made these huge movies that made $1 bazillion.
Right. All the money.
And this is how you make a TV show.
Right.
This is how you make a TV show.
Right.
And it's like, if it could have been done that way back in the 70s, oh my God, my childhood would have been so much better.
They never synergized movies and TV until just now. We just saw a thing.
Well, it's because TV is elevated to the point because of streaming that you can do this.
Because we had Planet of the Apes TV series back then. Guess what?
Right.
One season.
Yeah,
I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying. Yeah. That was the pattern back then, and it's like if they weren't going to make sequels, the sequels weren't even barely a thing back then.
Right.
But now we get movies, and then we get a nice little 10 or 8 or 10 episode TV series, and they can put all their resources.
Let's face facts, though. Let's face facts.
It's also the Disney pot of money too.
With Feige, I mean, the movies are TV shows. Right. Yeah. He's a showrunner. They're pretty much mega TV show episodes that all connect. And so it's one of those things like, duh, once you step back and think about it, like,
he could transfer this to
they're
TV.
Just really expensive. They're like really stupid expensive TV shows.
Right.
I'll be here for the next episode 2 years from now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But we're taking these characters that we know from the movies, and we get to tell a story that we couldn't have told in the 2-hour movie.
Right.
And that's
we're not gonna be watching Falcon iron his clothes and talk about his money troubles in the movie.
Right. They don't have time for that.
Right. And delivering packages to the homeless.
We gotta go.
Right. No,
Snyder would have left it in.
Oh my God.
Snyder would have made time,
and we would have drained all the color out of it.
And a lot of slow-mo
to show a cyborg saving one person. And we just equate that's good because he stole money from somewhere and gave it to this lady.
No. He just moved some zeros and ones around.
I mean, I get it. I'm all for it. You've heard me, but it's like, the dude's kind of a dick. Like, you didn't make him likable because he did one noble thing. Like, he's still kind of weirdly stiff to me. And that doesn't come from the Perez run. And that doesn't come from the cartoon run. I don't know where they thought, like, hey, let's just make him inhuman and that'll humanize him. Like,
right. I'm not going to stand for cyborg slander.
And my only big complaint still, they took away my booyah.
Yeah. I mean, come on, give him the one thing he's known for across mediums.
Every kid in the world was going like, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what they were looking for.
But to go back to that point, it's like now we're getting TV the way it should have been done. I agree with Terry. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s like, okay, this feels like a TV show.
Yeah.
These don't feel like TV shows. These feel like movies.
WandaVision outside of the dome felt like TV. Or anytime they were outside of the hex, I was like, I could see, if it was like a graft, you could see the quality of the suspense, because they're doing a lot of exposition and like, oh, what do you mean? They don't do any of that shit in this, man. This feels like you ever seen that movie, the Spartan? It was a Mammoth movie. It kind of has that, like, we know you know, fuckers. We're not going to take time. Explain.
We're not spoon feeding you. This plot is moving.
No. This plot is moving, and they don't have a lot of exposition.
Right. I mean, but that's Mammoth. That's Mammoth in his purest form. Also, the movie Ronin by Mammoth is another good example of this plot is moving along. If you ain't pick it up, they got to find a thing. You don't worry about what the thing is. They just got to find a thing, and they're really good at their jobs.
So I'm thinking
follow them.
Baker's crime kind of writer DNA has really helped out with. It helped Winter Soldier out, and it's helping this out, because this feels like an Ed Breaker joint. Even though I know he isn't writing it. Yeah. If you read that run, it was just like this. It was Bucky trying to redeem himself. I mean, he had the capture at the time, but I think they're building up to that. I noticed this with Daredevil. Where Marvel with Kingpin, they, instead of giving you Kingpin, they'll rewind him just a scooch, so he can arc into the character People are like, oh, he's not Kingpin. He's emotional. Like, dude, he's getting there. Don't you see? He's edging to it. So when that payoff happened, when he finally's wearing all white, you were like, oh man. And that's really, out of the whole Netflix TV show, the Daredevil is unimpeachable. Like, that. All 3 seasons of that are excellent. Standalone. Without the other stuff are just same type of storytelling we're getting in the Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yes.
But also when you compare it to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too, it's like, what did we get really from the Marvel universe besides Coulson? We got Sif. We got Sif for one episode.
We did get the crossover with the Howling Commandos and Old Girl. There was one episode there too.
I gave up on it by then.
They also, don't we forget about Agent Carter was a thing too.
Yes, Agent Carter was a show.
That didn't quite stick to my ribs either.
Yeah, I feel like I watched the first season, but I don't remember much about it.
I would just watch her put makeup on for an hour. I don't care.
Yeah, she's definitely, there's something there.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was going through a big rundown, and yes, I'm about to bat Snyder again. Alert.
Oh, you got to do it.
Really, it's just Wonder Woman. Like, Gal Gadot has such noodle arms, man. She needs to work out. Like, she doesn't have the boom you need,
and she won't be model-esque. She needs to be model-esque.
We need somebody volleyball-esque or something. Like,
no, she's got to look.
She doesn't even look athletic.
I sent you my choice.
You did.
Oh, dude, you nailed it, man. You nailed it.
Yeah.
There was a stunt actress that was one of the Amazonians lifting up the wall. She was in the.
You already did this. You did this.
Okay,
in the last
I did
episode.
that. Yeah. She was like, you give her black hair, I'm good to go. Like, she's right. Show. A lot of people are going to complain about how masculine she looks, but I don't care, man.
And so, turning back to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, really quick. So then we get the name drop. We're going to be returning to Baron Zemo. And I am excited to see him just because he's a character that he's essentially a pipe bomb character. Like, what is he going to add to the proceedings? Because, they made him a mastermind in his previous appearance. So I'm hoping that they don't in any way nerf his character, but that he gets to once again be the evil genius that he is, because he's pretty awesome. And I'm hoping that they don't, because I'm a little afraid they're going to go with the trope that they have to break him out of jail. I'm hoping he's already planning to break himself out of jail, and they just happen in on that day. Like, because if they have to break him out of jail, I'm going to be really frustrated.
I don't know if they have enough episodes for that. But
he's getting out of jail, because I've already seen in the previews he's out of the world. They show but I'm hoping that was him. Like, they're on their way to get him, and he's already out of jail. Like, he's walking out the front door. They're like, we got to take you back. Also help us solve our problem. Take us to the power broker, and then we'll take you back to jail.
Right. Right. I don't know, and I'm glad I don't know. I actually don't want to know.
Right. I don't
want to remember too much because I'm liking these twists and turns.
That is the great thing about the show. You don't know what's going to happen next. It isn't falling into a.
I thought they were going to play U.S. Agent kind of differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like him, love him, but it's like, we don't want to love him.
Yeah.
And so you got this nice trinity of tension.
Yeah.
Like where you got Bucky and Sam are like pissed off at each other. Oh, dude, we didn't even talk about that line that should have been a cringe line, but it was like, if he was wrong about you, then he was wrong about me. Man tier. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, they got me.
Powerful.
Good stuff. It's like, why do you care so much? Like, look, if that means he was wrong about you, it means he's wrong about Bella. Ooh, like, they tapped into that redemption arc.
But that goes back to that moment they have on the plane where he's like, do you really think I'm worth this? And he's like, absolutely, till the end of the line. I'm with you to the end of the line. And
way to do a callback.
Right?
Once again, this generic metal arm 90s character, style character. I know Bucky's been around before that. Has more reticence than Superman. Like how does they like it's.
Although I will say, because we're getting close to time, and I want to let Jim go because he's got an early morning. I actually do too. Boo. I want to say that Superman and Lois as a TV show is still holding my interest, and they do a pretty good Superman the Goof, who uses his powers in interesting ways. He remembers he has more than one ability. He uses freeze breath. He uses the wind power. He flies and stuff. So I'm still liking that show. It went on hiatus, and so it's not back till May 18th.
COVID.
Is that why?
Yeah,
I figured it was COVID, and they wanted to do Supergirl, the show, so they've switched them out, I think. But yeah, it's doing a really good job of every time Superman uses his powers, I'm kind of excited to see what he's going to do.
It's a good Bronze Age comic book. That's what that is.
It is. Now, I do wish they hadn't removed the Superman had a job layer from it because, that's kind of what keeps him, interesting.
But he's balancing double lives. They need that space for the kids. I haven't seen any episode other than the first one. Yeah. But I can imagine they can't have like work shenanigans and then the two kids shenanigans and then Lois Lane shenanigans and then whatever the bad guys. So they had to cut a plot element to make room for all these extra.
Pretty much that's what they did. And then they made him the kids coach. So his job is coaching the kids in a small town football team, which, is kind of a full-time gig. So but they're doing a really good job over there with the show, and I still appreciate it. And when it comes back, we should get back together and talk about it because I do think they're doing great.
How many episodes do they have? Because I only watched the one.
I think it's like 4.
I gotta get caught up.
It's pretty good. Now it's once again, sometimes it's white people problems in this way that you're like, don't get too WB on me, please. But for the most part, it's like a good amount of like, I'm in, okay, I'll follow this.
I actually dug the fact that they kind of had, this is my take, I could be wrong, but it seemed like Superman had kind of ran into this Trump America foil, just like with the other guy, man, you did.
That's not an accident.
That's not an accident. That's really happening. Yeah.
I was like, I see what's happening here, and I'm with it.
No, and they are continuing to play that card.
It kind of shows Superman as a big liberal compared to modern American Republican. Where back in the day, I would say he's more conservative, Republican, but now it's like
John Burns writing. He certainly was.
It's like, I want to save people and make sure that we can some people need to die, some people need killing. Like, that's different. Oh, nice. If you're doing the dad.
I am.
But yeah, so for sure. I want to say this one thing because this is relevant to the bigger conversation. Mm-hmm. As a person of color, you can literally tell the white zeitgeist based on Superman and Batman. When those two are smiling, life's great for everybody because that means people are happy, the economy's going good. And so with Batman,
truly a golden age.
When Superman and Batman ain't even happy no more, look out. It's over. Like,
things about to get rough.
Things about to get rough because they made Superman not smile.
Right.
And look, when he does smile, even the Whedon cut, it looks weird. Yes.
Yeah. It's scary when he smiles.
High five me through the camera. Like, boom. Right. I was like, I don't know if I like that dude's smile. Sucks. Like, Jesus, he looks like he's going to bite my face off.
He's like the Beast and Beauty and the Beast.
It's also
smile. Okay, no.
Digital artist at 3 a.m. trying to draw a smile on his face. So I'll give the element
look, man,
of that. Try to make that happen. with like 2 hours sleep because this movie's got to be done in a month.
I'm backing up off the. I'm gonna be a Whedon defense attorney now because I don't think he added as much people think.
No, he didn't.
I think he just cut
the movie down as much as he could.
Wonder Woman characterization was superior to the Zack Snyder cut. Like she was one of the only characters I liked in the movie because she felt like a mother.
She doesn't blow the guy apart in front of all the kids.
Right. She's not murdering people in front of kids.
The action was still goofy. Yeah. But she still had a leadership role. Right now, in this one, she felt like second fiddle to Batman.
Pretty much. Even though Batman was second fiddle to the whole movie.
Well, there's that. Kind of. Like, I got to get a team together. Anyway, we got to do a part 2 on this Snyder.
Yeah. Do we? I feel like you're just going to re-legislate it every time we talk about anything else.
I'm going to be talking about this for a while.
I know.
Like I said,
this is the new Dark Knight Rises.
It is.
Right.
Because people also hype themselves up into believing that was a great movie. Yeah. And then all it does is bad movies beget more bad movies.
Right.
This is the way to go. Slow-mo up a wall just to flip back down.
That actually brings up an interesting point that brings all of that together. So with the success of Invincible, if Invincible is successful, we have the boys, we have Invincible, so we have, superheroes plowing through people and blood everywhere. Mm-hmm. We have the Justice League with Wonder Woman blowing the guy apart and Superman pushing people through 5 brick walls.
Yeah.
Is this going to be a new trend?
Well, I think it's already a trend. Deadpool already set a precedent for it.
Yeah.
But it's just fun to look at when you do it right. I'm not anti-gore.
Yeah.
Just like seeing Homelander like lays a crowd of people was completely like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's so bloodless when Snyder does it. Like,
you gotta earn it.
You want to be edgy, dude, but like you don't film action well. Quit telling him that. He doesn't.
But it's so
300 was good. There was some good fight scenes in Watchmen, but now it's like it just looks like human Muppets moving around, and it just doesn't look dynamic.
But with Titans on DC Universe and now HBO Max, with Robin, I mean, that opening scene with Robin just, smashing people's heads and breaking their necks on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't need to see my childhood characters doing all that.
Are you sure? Because you're an adult now. It's got to be more.
No, I really don't. If
you put Robin, I told you, it's really how they show it. If you put that same Robin in, if you reskin Daredevil as Robin, or hell, as Batman, all of a sudden you got no problems with it. Because they film it. Because I can tell you why before we wrap this up. Marvel does martial arts movies with superhero skills. Whenever they got a guy that's doing martial arts, the spectacle is the martial art itself. Like, golly, look at that guy do his own stunts and doing stuff.
Yeah, he's doing flippy flips.
DC, nobody has a fighting style worth watching. Oh, wait, like name somebody. Wonder Woman style looks silly as shit. Superman style, that fucking flailing shit he does. Mm-hmm. I was like, what? And then he does like this weird floating elbow thing. Unfun to look at. Flash runs like he's fucking slipping on ice.
Yeah.
Aquaman, watch a Dora Milaje action set if you want to see what good spear work looks like. I'm sorry, any Aquaman fans out there. Like, it's just, Batman should be the most electrifying guy to see in a fight.
Batman throws people 40 feet across the room, and I want to know how he does it.
Right.
I want that workout plan.
Because everybody, like, Zack Snyder's whole thing is man punch hard. Like, that's the thing. Getting blown up against the wall. Like, there's no dynamic ducking, dodging, parrying, Like, and that's why, like, a Deathstroke Batman fight is desperately needed. But they took too long to get to that point.
Yeah.
And so now the whole thing, unless they reboot the Snyderverse, which they're calling.
Which is possible. There's some money in it. There's money.
Wave it off.
I actually want them to do it like the Joker. I want you to do it. I want you to do it.
Yeah.
Because I know it would just ruin them.
Right.
It would ruin them.
Right.
So there it is.
Thank you guys so much for joining me to talk about Invincible and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, 2 shows that I'm really enjoying. Looking forward to seeing new episodes drop on Friday, every Friday for at least the next 4 weeks for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and the next 5 weeks for Invincible. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I keep wanting to see Captain America and the Winter Soldier because of the film.
Yep.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier is available on Disney Plus. Invincible's available on Amazon Prime. Anything you guys want to say as we wrap up here?
No, we're like Jim said, we're in a golden age of TV, man. I'm not going to complain too much because
I was afraid for a long time that we were going to have reality shows for the rest of our lives.
Right, that was a dark age.
There was a severe lack of dramatic TV shows. You know, I thought like once The Sopranos went away and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, you know, we had Game of Thrones. Like, oh, thank God we have something. Yes. And now it's like, oh, Disney Plus, you bring me all the Mandalorian and Falcon, Winter Soldier, and WandaVision that you want.
Dude, you just gave me an insight. You made me realize that Spider-Verse Kingpin was pretty much Tony Soprano.
Yeah,
as Kingpin.
Yeah.
Like, duh, but I just thought about that.
And I never imagined Kingpin talking like that either. But it's like, it makes sense.
Liv Schreiber, I think, was the voice actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it's like, but you can see it. Like, I would buy it. Like, if that actor was still alive, like, yeah, I could see that.
So, James Gandolfini? Yeah, he could have done the Kingpin.
Yeah.
I guess they're going to do a prequel with his son, by the way. Throwing that out there.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. I'm not not excited.
So, yeah, I'm grateful that we have this stuff coming. It's like, I look forward to my Friday. I'm grateful this Friday I don't have to work because it's the beginning of spring break. And
nice.
I don't have to wait to be on the internet until I get home in the afternoon.
Right. I'm often trying to watch these shows in my lunch hour.
These people, their spoilers are killing me.
Yeah. Everybody wants to be in on it though. It's interesting that it's such a cultural phenomenon.
Like that's good
absolutely.
TV that you want to you don't want to be left out of the conversation.
Particularly in the internet age where we're all watching so many different things. The fact that we come together to watch these things says a lot.
Like when Lost was out, you know, and people would talk about it around the water cooler on Wednesday morning after watching on Tuesday night. That's the kind of thing that we need. We don't need more. What is the Masked Singer or whatever?
Right.
Oh God, I tried to watch one episode of that.
We don't need The Bachelor. We don't need that.
Yeah, I mean it's got its audience. My wife loves reality shows.
I knew you were going to defend it, like
AKA women yelling at each other through dysfunction. But I'm not a fan, and so I'm glad that they're making stuff that is squarely in my demographic that I enjoy.
If you'd have told me when I was a kid that they would make a show with Bucky,
right? First of all, Bucky's dead. Bucky's the dead character. You don't bring back Uncle Ben. You don't bring back Bucky.
Nope.
That was the rule in the 90s. Right.
But if you told me that we have all these shows, that really Vision and Scarlet Witch going to have a show, huh? Okay.
Right. Sure. Doesn't make any sense. Nope.
I love it. Love it.
The Falcon's going to get a show. The Falcon.
Yep. Never would believe it.
Not possible. Let
alone a movie, let alone a show. So
Right. I'm not sure that we're not going to get a movie announced by the time this is over. Whoever takes up the Cap Shield, I think might get the next.
I'm at a point where I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I'm liking this TV show format. Like, I don't need to go.
Well, it's interesting because it's their highest rated show so far, right? Disney's saying Falcon and the Winter Soldier was the highest rated intro. They have not announced the season 2. I'm pretty sure it means something happens at the end. That season 2 is at the least going to be named something else.
It's embarrassing how much Disney / Marvel is killing it, man. Like,
oh yeah.
It's like, come on, guys. I feel like Warner Bros. Is kind of stumbling through some victories with that Wonder Woman 84 on their streaming platform.
Yeah.
And then, you know, with a few other movies.
Forgot about it.
I know Godzilla comes out tonight.
Godzilla came out yesterday, actually. But yes,
my son Godzilla's out. Me to shut the hell up so he can watch it.
Nice.
But
I was going to ask him if he was looking forward to it.
Yeah, he is. He literally waiting like Nightwing right now.
Please.
Pair of sticks.
Right.
I mean, I think he's going to just club me.
Crunchians.
Get off here soon.
Right.
I honestly don't care if I ever go to a movie theater again. So I'm good with.
I am totally good with. I miss movie theaters.
8-episode TV shows instead. I'm good with that.
Yeah. If they can be this quality, I'm with it.
Once The Mandalorian did that whole thing with the game engine behind it, it was like, oh, we can just make any environment we want now. It's the danger room.
That's a game changer, dude.
That is a game changer. Yes. And I look forward to more of that. And I hope Marvel, gets in on that and starts making their shows just like that. Like, hey, make all the shows this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in.
So, all right, guys. Once again, always a good conversation. Thanks for joining me on the Hallspace Podcast. Looking forward to talking to you again. The Hallspace Podcast is brought to you by Hall Productions, LLC. Show notes and credits can be found at our webpage, thehallspacepodcast.wordpress.com. Any questions, comments, or concerns can be sent to us at thehallspacepodcast@gmail.com. The show is written by Daggerpin Davis. Music is curated by DJ Cabal. The show is produced by Chuck Jones and recorded at Slash and Trash Studios. If you like what you hear and you want to hear more, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you all have a good week.
House Hall. We rise brilliantly.